Hello, and welcome to our review of the latest episode of Doctor Who, The Girl Who Died. We'll be starting first thoughts this week with you, Sean.
My thoughts for this week can be summed up with my Fennekin evolved in Pokemon Y. Because I got bored about 10 minutes in and started playing Pokemon.
Ah,
It's pretty much my. Yeah, it wasn't dull. Until like last minute or so, it was relatively, in my opinion, dull. But my Fennekin evolved, which is good. Um, Villains didn't really do anything for me.
mm,
And that was that. Done. Your go. You might have actually watched the episode.
I
There were some
did.
quite a few funny lines I occasionally looked up for. My mum laughed.
I enjoyed it. I didn't get to see it when it aired. I had to catch up on iPlayer because I was working, so I was doing my best to avoid social media for potential spoilers and everything, which always go straight up after the episode's finished. I kind of enjoyed it. You're right, the villains weren't particularly memorable, but it wasn't really about the villains in that way. It was very much a lot of it was all about the Doctor
Mm.
in terms of what he considered to be the rules that he establishes for himself as a time traveler. Was would he save the village or would he just tell them to run away and that kind of thing, which is what it was all about really, and his development. We finally got to learn a little bit more about why he has his face, why he's got Capaldi's face. It's the whole thing is it's a message to himself.
It
Uh,
won't be worth the wait because it's Stephen Moffat.
no, that was it. That was this is
Yeah, but the
this.
reason it won't be
What do you mean?
worth it. Stephen Moffat. Hold it. Right, I'm now paying attention. Fuck Snorlax. Um,
It's the whole thing of he's chosen that fate to remind himself that he saves people, and sometimes he can bend the rules a little bit or find ways around it. But obviously, he immediately regretted what he did afterward with bringing Ashilda back.
also obvious. Called that like.
Well, we all knew that was going to happen because we all knew she was in next week's as well, though.
Yeah, but yeah. But
So as
wait.
soon as you see she's dead, you know well, she's going to have to come back because she's going to be in next week's, or something's going to have to happen. Um, I admittedly didn't expect she's going to come back and she can now never die. I thought it was literally just going to be something. The specifics didn't predict it, but it worked. Had some nice dialogue. Uh, I enjoyed it for the most part. It wasn't particularly a standout episode for me, but I didn't dislike it. It kept my attention for the most part. It was quite actionless. There wasn't this really. Again, it was the whole thing of it's not the Doctor saving the world or anything like that. It was saving a village, so it was a lot smaller, a bit more homely. We got to see a bit more of Clara again, sort of being the Doctor, or seeing how that sort of rubbed off against her when she was facing not Odin, when they were first taken up into the spaceship. I enjoyed Maisie Williams in it. I thought she was very good in it. I think she's a very good actress generally.
Eh, didn't really get much from her.
I enjoyed it. I've seen her in more things than you though, by comparison.
Yeah, well.
She's a very good actress, and she was very good in that as well. Um, Again, I liked it. It didn't jump out to me to be anything particularly special. I quite like the I quite like the design for the sort of the armor they had for the Maya. Quite like that. Reminded me sort of a little bit of Walking Boilers, which I quite liked. It had this lovely sort of rusty look to it. And then, of course, the actual inside, their actual appearance was something that was completely different altogether,
Mm.
which is quite nice. I quite like the actual design, sort of that kind of that slightly alien-esque look for not Odin. They incorporated all the classic stuff with
Cyber Odin.
yeah, Cyber Odin.
Odin if he was taken over by Skynet. So the red eye reminded me of Terminator.
No, I
And
quite
they see the
like
vision
that.
thing that they see.
I quite like that concept for it. It's also the idea of hacking into technology. There were some clever things they used for it. I've already seen one thing which has been considered a bit of quite a large plot hole.
It's Doctor Who. It's the entire franchise is based on plot. It's about time travel. That immediately fills it with plot holes.
Well, it wasn't that. It was the electric eels.
Yeah, what?
Electric eels are only native to the Amazon in South America.
Look, complaining about Doctor Who not being accurate is
Well, no,
An
there is.
episode in futility.
Someone has actually come up with a semi-plausible
And
way
nerds.
around it, which is enough.
Nerds will try to deny and make anything stick, no matter
No, it wasn't
how.
nerds. It was a historian.
Uh,
It
well,
was
they're
that.
essentially nerds anyway.
I can't remember who it is. Who's the Chris that's on like Spring Watch and everything? Chris Patton,
I
is
don't
it?
know. I don't watch Spring Watch.
Chris Patton said about uh, how inaccurate it was having electric eels that come from the Amazon or are native to those areas are suddenly appearing in Scandinavia.
Or Wales. So, actually,
Filmed in Wales. It's
clearly
not set
Wales. I
there.
know. Clearly Wales.
Um,
But it wasn't a quarry, so there were minor amounts of creativity there.
but there is a legitimate way of getting around it in terms of the idea of we do know the Vikings explored large parts of America before it was officially discovered.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Columbus.
He was a Viking. That explains so much.
But we do know that back then they had a habit of capturing animals and then bringing them back for royal menageries and that kind of thing. But that's a very long running thing. So in theory, it's the idea of the electric eels might have come from there or might have been descended from ones they picked up from there, and it's a sort of royal menagerie that they're keeping.
Or they just couldn't be asked to justify it.
Yes,
And
it's
they
that.
were needed for the plot.
They needed for the plot, and they didn't have the time to justify it. Which again, it's the thing. We said that a couple of weeks ago. You've only got 45 minutes to tell the story. It's very difficult to put all the details and things because you're always going to say.
Oh, I think there's something else I liked.
What?
Lofty.
Yes.
New companion. Lofty.
It's a very short review this week, really. We don't have much to talk
I
about.
didn't watch one. It's first part of a two-part story, so inherently.
But this one, that's the weird thing. It isn't really a two-parter, other than the sense that a Shielder is back in next week. So that's really the only continuing through. It's not like it's the end of a story, because the story was resolved by the end of this episode. What we've got is I can't really think. We haven't had one recently that's been like that. It's almost as if the best way I could find the analogy for would be the first one that just come to mind was when they did the long game with Christopher Eccleston.
And it came back in.
And then they went back to Satellite.
I actually should have done that with this series. There be a
one?
Gap between the two episodes.
That would have worked a lot better.
Have it then, and then have it, not season finale, but maybe have this episode and then just mucking up the whole.
Well, they've got another. Well, we know this entire series is made up of two-parters. So what they could have done was put the next two-parter in between this, and then you have the next one.
And then like, oh, by the way, remember what's his face? Yeah, she's still around.
Make that nice little gap.
And like, yes.
But again, we don't know what the plot for next week is, so we don't know how much of it might actually connect to this week. We definitely know that Shielder's back because she can't die now. Well, can she? Probably not. So we've got that returning. Not much to know. From what we could see, though, in the trailer next week, there's no Clara. I didn't see her in any of the shots for the trailer next week.
Can't see it, but I'm rejoicing with my arms in the air. Just really starting to get on my wick.
Hasn't got long. She'll be back.
Good. I hope she dies painfully and horribly.
Love it.
As much as you can do in a BBC TV family TV show.
We're not vindictive.
I'm not vindictive. I just want Rose's head on the platter. That's not vindictive at all.
It's also a little bit difficult to do now.
Yeah.
I liked the episode this week. No major problems with it. Didn't particularly stand out for me in some
I
ways.
just like it. I just got bored. I have a new test now. Whenever I watch Doctor Who, I have my DS next to me. And if I forget it's there and the episode has enthralled me, if I start playing, it fails.
All right.
Now
That will make reviews a little bit difficult, though, if you don't watch the episode.
I am listening. I'm still in the same room, listening to it and looking up occasionally. I remember Lofty, the serpent thing.
I quite like that design.
Serpent. That confused me for like a second. I went, what? Oh, yeah, there you go. God, yeah.
The Benny Hill theme.
Benny Hill theme. That should like go on Twitter, or Space Twitter.
The Intergalactic Hub, wasn't it? They called it?
Space Twitter.
I thought it was more like Space YouTube, really.
Today's social media / sharing / we couldn't use any names because copyright.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it this week. Again, it was nothing particularly special, but there wasn't anything majorly wrong with it for me. It kept my attention, at least. But at the same time, I wasn't watching it when it was airing, so I knew I had to come back and watch it, because I'd missed it. So that's a slight difference then in terms of how we're watching it. Do you want mum review?
Oh yes, we need your mum's opinion of the week. I need to come up with a theme tune for this. So it's like do 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 do. There you are. It's a theme tune.
There we go.
I won't remember that for next week. It'll be something entirely different.
um, Mum liked it. She enjoyed the humour for parts of it. She thought some of the lines were particularly funny. She liked seeing Maisie Williams, again from Game of Thrones, because my mum's a big Game of Thrones fan. She liked what they did with the Doctor this week, because he went from quite dark and quite serious moments about the pressures and the responsibilities of being a Time Lord, and then suddenly to the very crazy moments, where he was very manic. Which is nice, actually, because we had it was a nice emotional journey, therefore, for the Doctor, which I agree with. I enjoyed that for him. It was a lot more of an exploration of what it is for him. A lot of the stories we've been focusing a bit more on Clara, a little bit more, the past few weeks, in terms of her development and where it's going. We saw a little bit of that this week, but this one was a bit more about the Doctor, about the kind of pressures of he's got to save people. But also we see that relationship's a little bit more strained, actually. The whole moments of Doctor saying, you need to get a hobby, I have a hobby, it's you, we'll get a new one.
Yeah.
The idea being the Doctor's very conscious of what Clara's becoming and clearly doesn't like it. But he's been made it very clear for a long time he doesn't like what Clara's becoming, but at the same time he can't openly do something because he needs her in her life. He needs her in his life just as much as vice versa. Which is kind of an awkward thing. But he's always been aware of that. You've seen that for a very long time because it's the whole thing. He lied to Clara, so she'd stay behind with Danny Pink at the very end of the last series, all that kind of thing. And of course, we had the return of the prophecy actually this week, which I just remembered. Davros said about the Doctor will create a hybrid.
Yes.
Of some kind that will change the world, or I can't quite remember what exactly it was, but it will threaten the universe or something like that. And every time and there's lots of theories going around for what is the hybrid. The Doctor obviously makes a reference to it when he says a Shielder might be now considered a hybrid, which obviously unnerved him.
Last time I saw a hybrid, it was crossed between a Protoss and a Zerg. It's a StarCraft thing there. It could be a hybrid of anything. It could be a Toyota Prius. We just don't know.
No,
the true evil of this universe.
Well, there are those, of course. We have the other potential hybrid was the Doctor Time Lord hybrid we had created in the first episodes. So there are some people who believe it's Clara, who's not a hybrid in the traditional sense, for the idea of she's becoming. It's the whole thing like the Doctor, which would make sense because usually when you go with a prophecy like that, it's never
prophecy's never
it's a literal hybrid.
They're always vague.
I would probably lean more towards that.
That would be mildly interesting.
Which probably will be like Clara. Of course, there are others who think it's the Doctor himself who will somehow become the hybrid in that same sort of non-literal way. So we've got lots of things moving forward with that. That's kind of becoming the main arc, but it's not this major. They're threading that one through a lot less than they've done other sort of series themes. Because with Missy, we had her appearing in every episode, so we knew,
pretty much, or either her or Chris Addison.
Chris Addison, sometimes there'd be a gap, but you knew it was there, so you knew something going on. This prophecy one is a lot lighter, and it's very much line-based, which is almost going back to the whole thing of Torchwood again and Bad Wolf. It was the thing of you saw it, but it was only after a while you began to pick up and notice. They've said that before. Which is quite nice, actually, because it's a lot more subtle. Almost in that way of you're not quite realising it. But at the same time, as the fans now, we begin to notice things that appear a bit more. Because I remember saying in the very first episode, they made a reference to something to do with being an embargo on a planet or something, and I thought that might come up again at some point because they mentioned it that was very much in the script. And I said, that'll come up at some point. It hasn't, so I've proven wrong on that.
Stephen Moffat, it'll come up like 4 seasons from now.
Somewhere it'll appear. I'll get some reference.
4 seasons from now. Like, by the way. Because he can't do anything in one series. Also, the next episode's on different writers.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Which doesn't seem that bad now because of the very lack of...
It's not the same.
It's not a direct follow-on, so it shouldn't be too kind of...
It's a sequel rather than a two-part.
Two-part, second part. It's the sequel. It's Doctor Who, Doctor Harder. That sounds like a porno.
We're not doing that.
Doctor Harder.
No.
The Clara harder, but that's even worse.
God.
Tara's harder.
No. That
Oh,
doesn't
wait.
even, that just sounds weird. It doesn't even know what that means.
That doesn't make any sense. Go with that one.
Um,
A good date doctor.
that's better.
Good date. That doesn't work for number 2. It has to be something harder.
Well, I can't think of much else really that jumped out at me about that particular episode. I quite liked the baby language is very poetic.
Yes.
The baby speaks. I thought Capaldi actually was really good in the episode generally, though his performance
Mm.
was very good. I enjoyed it. Um, Again, it was like, was it like last week's then in that way of it was all right, but it didn't do anything particularly
Yeah, I'll
special
say
for
similar
us.
quality. It hasn't completely shit the bed yet, but still not comparing to the first part of the last story arc. Forgot what it was called. After the flood, or
Yeah, it was after the
yeah,
flood.
still my height for best one. But I like the high
No,
tension.
it was Under the Lake was
Under the Lake, yes.
before
Before the flood, the second part.
before the flood was last week, so it was Under the Lake was.
So I like the high tension kind of.
Yeah, we both like
We're
that.
all trapped. Someone's gonna die. The
We
black
like
guy's already
the
gone.
two-parter though generally as well. We like the whole, pretty much most of that.
Yeah, so it's not decreased in quality. It's flatlining.
It's middling.
Middling.
It's sort of leveled
Not
out,
improving, but not getting worse.
which is all right actually.
Yes, as long as it doesn't get worse, then I will
A bit,
rage.
but if memory serves,
Oh god.
the next, I don't know if it's the next lot of two-parters. I think it's
Just
the Mark Gatiss two-parters, which might be
thank God someone gave me a two-parter.
they're the ones that are the found footage style ones, and I think they're the Doctor Light episodes for this series. I think I don't know for certain, but I know the Mark Gatiss ones are kind of found footage style.
Next one, Zygons.
Oh
After.
no, I think it's after the Zygons ones, maybe.
Yeah, Zygons' next story part is
Yeah, we got Zygons next, which will be interesting.
very interesting. Did he do anything this time?
Yeah, because it's Zygon invasion and the Zygon inversion.
Where Zygons move backwards and talk backwards. It's basically like the episode Red Dwarf.
Yes.
Which would be hilarious if it was.
Uh, but yeah, I think that's pretty much our thoughts then on this week's
The mid-season lull.
mid-season lull,
Where,
which
you have
works.
the excitement of for the beginning, have lulls, and then it'll pick up or hopefully pick up for the finale.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they're still doing a lot better than generally the general consensus we had for the last season,
Yeah,
which was an all right start. Fell down at moments towards the end, picked up again towards the end, picked up
died
quite
completely
dramatically
on its.
and then fell down again. I thought the ending was all right, but that was mostly just because it was good performances rather than it didn't quite. It wasn't gripping. It wasn't high tension. It was good performances, nice speeches. The acting was very good and dramatic, but it wasn't quite in that way of the world's going to end. I'm feeling it wasn't the same.
I stopped becoming tense for where world ending plans a long time ago in fiction. The world's going to end. No, it's not. I am genre aware.
One day they'll do one where
the world does just end. And like,
but it'll be set on a world and the Doctor doesn't save it.
Well, that showed me.
And I want to have that one day where it has it. It's a very dark end. It's the idea of the Doctor doesn't win.
Yeah.
Or it's the idea of he does something but it all goes very badly wrong.
Very badly wrong.
Which is supposed to be almost a little bit like how he thought the Time War ended, in that kind of way that he did something that resulted in the destruction of a planet, but he had to do it to save the greater good. Is that whole thing of what do you do then?
Sorry.
The greater good.
Stop that.
Or Tau, depending on which version you want to go with. But yeah, I think that's our thoughts on this week then. Mid-season lull was all right. Wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either.